3,000. History with an exclamation point.
Anthony for three. Bang! That one goes down, and the game is tied. Yankees are champions of baseball.
Okay, well, that wasn't fun. Hello, everybody. Actually, you know what? I almost forgot to bring up my notes here. Give me one moment. Here we go. All right. So, we haven't recorded a Yankees episode in a minute. We missed the last series against the Texas Rangers prior to the Brewers sweep. So we're going to really briefly recap that series, and then we'll get into all the stuff from this most recent Brewers series, which took place in Milwaukee. So good times in Texas. Sounds like a song or something. And then bad times in Milwaukee. So we'll get into it all here in episode 1052, I believe. I don't even remember. Yeah, 1052. So let me fix that on the screen here. Sorry, you can tell I didn't take a ton of time to set up here. Here we go. 1052 for those watching. And let's talk about it. So if you go all the way back, and as I'm recording, it's Sunday, May 10th. If you go all the way back to Tuesday, the Yankees started their series against the Texas Rangers, and they won 7-4. Again, we're not going to dive too deep into this series. We're just going to give a brief recap since we did miss it. But it was Elmer Rodriguez, the righty rookie for the Yankees, making his second big league start, going up against the veteran righty Jacob deGrom. And the Yankees end up scoring 6 runs on deGrom in 6 1/3. Very impressive to be able to come back against deGrom. You know, they're down 3-0 against an ace like that. And to win the game takes a lot. And you've seen the Yankees do that a lot this season. Lots of hard contact on him too. And this was a game where obviously there's still no Stanton, but Ben Rice was not playing. The Yankees were still able to get to deGrom for 6 runs. Bottom of the first inning, Cody Bellinger doubles off the wall. Second inning, McMahon ties the game at that moment with a home run. And then bottom 6, Jazz Chisholm with the go-ahead home run to make it 4-3. Yankees get another run on the Texas pen. Bellinger with a left-on-left double in the 7th makes it 6-3. deGrom's inherited runners score. Bottom 8, Paul Goldschmidt home run 7-3. We'll talk more about Elmer in just 1 second. Yankee bullpen in this game, 4 1/3. Headrick got the 5th and 6th. He looked phenomenal as usual. Top of the 5th inning, he enters a tie game with the bases loaded, 2 outs. Gets Haggerty to strike out swinging. He goes 3 straight 4-seamers that were fouled off. First 2 top of the zone. Then he goes to a nasty 0-2 back foot slider for a swing and miss. Top of the 6th, he goes 1-2-3 with 2 more strikeouts and a fly out. He gets Jansen to strike out looking, 4-seamer low and in. Later gets Carter to strike out swinging. 2 straight 4-seamers in the zone to get ahead 0-2. And then he goes to a left-on-left slider low and away for the swing and miss. So he looks really good. We'll talk more about Headrick in the bullpen later. Hill got the 7th, not his sharpest, gave up a couple of hits. Cruz got the 8th, did a very nice job on the 7th to clean up Tim Hill's mess with a strikeout and a pop-up. Top of the 8th, he makes his own mess that Bednar had to clean up. And then, Bednar got the 8th and 9th, 5-out save. Did enough. Looked really, really good, too. Again, more on him in the pen leader. But I'm going to tip my cap in this series, when we're talking starting pitching, to Elmer Rodriguez. I thought he was the best Yankee starter in this 3-game set. And that says a lot because, or I guess it says very little, because the Yankee rotation is going through a tough turn right now. But Elmer, 4 2/3, 3 runs, 4 walks, 2 strikeouts, 1 hit batter, 6 hits allowed, no home runs, 94 pitches. Listen, he had a tough first inning, but the fact that he fought through it and he grinded out just about 5 more innings after that, or in total, is impressive. You know, that does show a lot of grit for a young kid. And listen, Elmer Rodriguez's first stint in the big leagues is up. It's over. 2 starts, and that's all it was. So there's not much to draw conclusions from, but we are talking about the number 3 prospect in their system. He's the number 2 pitching prospect behind Carlos Legrand. But in the minors this season with Scranton Wilkes-Barre, 21 2/3 innings, 3 earned runs, 20 strikeouts at a 26% clip, 7 walks at a 9% clip, and 12 hits allowed. Last season, at all 3 minor league levels, 150 innings, 2.58 ERA, 176 strikeouts, 29% K rate, 57 walks, 9% walk rate, 104 hits allowed. Really good numbers. From what I've read about Elmer, not really a strikeout artist, but he's a good pitcher. Like, he's got good spin rates. He induces a lot of ground balls, limits home runs with that sinker. Very deep mix with 5 reliable offerings. 4-seam, 2-seam slider, the split change, the curveball. That 4-seamer, it's got to sit 95. As you saw with arm side run, he'll touch 97. I thought, the secondaries were as advertised. The off-speed generate really good swing and miss. Overall, I'm a little bit concerned about the lack of swing and miss in his game. But that ties in with the location, right? Both times he pitched, I didn't get to watch the majority of the outing because I was working. I was just listening to it. But from what I read about and from what I saw when I went back and watched the film, like, the stuff looks good. Again, there's some velo there. There's some good break on his pitches. That slider looks really good. He's a little bit wild. I'm going to chalk that up to nerves. And the good thing is he's missing out of the zone, and he's not missing in the zone. So he's still getting soft contact, even though he's not getting swing and miss, because when he's missing, it's not inside the zone. So those, we'll see with Elmer down the stretch, whether he becomes a reliever, trade bait. But he was demoted after this game with Carlos Rodon now back, whom we'll obviously get to later. But that was your first game on Tuesday. Wednesday, Yankees lose this one 6-1. The righty Warren against the righty Nathan Eovaldi. Not really much to discuss about this game. Will Warren just didn't have it, but still had his good stuff. I mean, he struck out 7 guys in 4 innings. But the other side of it was he gave up 6 runs and put 10 guys on base. So he wasn't good. Eovaldi, of course, only pitches well against the Yankees. Goes 8 shutout, no walks, 8 strikeouts. The Yankees pick up 3 hits the entire night. Judge has a garbage time home run. Tough loss. It happens. 6-1. Yankees bounce back on Thursday in dominant fashion with a 9-2 win. The Yankee bats, 9 runs on 14 hits, 6 walks, 5 extra base hits, 6 strikeouts. They were 7 for 18 in scoring position. Went up against the lefty Mackenzie Gore, who was a big trade target for a lot of teams in the offseason. Yankees, I think at one point, were lightly in on him, but never got him, obviously. And they scored 5 runs and 5 1/3 on Mackenzie Gore. Against the Texas Pen, they got 4 runs, but bottom of the first, Bellinger triples, puts the Yankees on the board. Bottom 6 is when the Yankees erupt, because they go into the 6th inning, the bottom of the 6th, down 2-1. But Grisham doubles in runs, and then you get Escara and Judge and Bellinger with base hits, and all of a sudden it's 7-2 Yankees. Bottom 7, Schumann with the double. Bottom of the 8th, McMahon with a base hit, 9-2. So that was your offensive production. Grisham had a big night, 3 for 5, double, 3 RBIs and a stolen base. Bellinger, 3 for 4, triple, walk, 2 RBIs. McMahon, 2 for 3, double, 2 walks, couple RBIs. Goldie and Escara on base a few times. The bullpen. This was the game the Yankees didn't have Weathers because he was ill. So they went with the opener. They went Blackburn to Beck to Hill to Headrick to Bird to Duvall. Blackburn in 1 inning, no run to open up the game. Brendan Beck was their bulk guy. 3 innings, 3 walks, 2 runs. And the rest of the Yankee bullpen after that held Texas scoreless. And again, part of that formula was going to Headrick, who I'm going to tip my cap to. For the 6th time this year, he leads the Yankees, pitchers and hitters, in cap tips this season. We've tipped our cap to him 6 times. He's been that good. And again, we'll talk more about him because I have a section later I'm going to get to about the bullpen as a whole. But we do tip our cap to Brent Headrick, who continues to just do his thing. 21 innings, 22 strikeouts, 7 walks, and a 1.71 ERA this season. Great pickup last year. He's one of those Matt Blake projects who's panning out right now. And then I'm also going to tip my cap from this series to Cody Bellinger. And if you go up to date with Cody Bellinger, he has been scorching hot in the month of May. In his last 10 games, and this is updated, 444 average, 533 OBP, 889 slug, 1422 OPS, 6 doubles, 2 triples, 2 home runs, 13 RBIs. Scorching hot right now. I mean, he has been so good. He loves the month of May. I remember he got off to a slow start last year too. Got hot around the same time. And again, we talked about it last show. Chasing less. It's allowing him to unlock that power by swinging at strikes, being more 3 outcome. But without the strikeouts right now. So, really good in left field too. Stealing bases, advancing on base hits. Looks really good. So Cody Bellinger, we tip our cap to you. And that was the Rangers series where the Yankees won 2 out of 3. So we will get back in a sec and talk about the Brewers series. Stay with us.
Quick break here, guys. Stay connected with BD4 on social media. Follow us on Instagram and X at BD4Pod and find us on Facebook by searching BD4. Don't miss out. Join the conversation. Want more BD4? Subscribe to our YouTube channel and never miss an episode. Hit that like button, drop a comment, and share with your fellow fans. Don't forget to ring that bell so you're always the first to know when a new video drops. Love BD4 but don't have the time to sit down and watch? Don't forget to subscribe on Apple Podcasts and Spotify so you never miss an episode. And if you're enjoying the show, leave us a 5-star rating and a quick review. It helps us grow and keeps the conversation going.
Okay. Welcome back to the show. And this segment of the show, we're going to talk about the Brewers series, which didn't go as well. In fact, the Yankees got swept. So going back to Friday, they lost this one 6-0. The offensive production definitely slowed down in this series. This was a gross loss because nobody was really on. Fried had nothing once again. His command has been a little off this season. Not going to see him get back to his full self until that comes around, which it will, as long as he's healthy. The lineup, though, it fell asleep. Spencer Jones debuts. We'll talk more about him later. And, the bats had nothing for Jacob Misiorowski, who just put on a pitching clinic. 6 scoreless, 11 strikeouts, throwing 104 miles an hour. Not exaggerating. If you watch that game, none of his fastballs were below 101, honestly. It was insane shit. So, welcome to the big leagues, Spencer Jones. The Yankees could not touch Misiorowski. You flush that one. Guess you got to flush all 3, but one that you can understand them losing. Saturday, this was the extra innings loss, 4-3 and 10. Probably the worst, most disgusting loss of the year. Just a repulsive watch. They had nothing going offensively yet again. Besides a Goldschmidt home run in the first, base hit in the fourth, makes it 2-0 Yankees at the time. McMahon hits a go-ahead single later in the 10th. But I didn't like the Yankee defense. I didn't like the Yankee base running. I didn't like the bats. And I didn't think the bullpen was good in this one. You had Bellinger getting caught stealing. You had Jazz making an error on that play off Schlittler's glove. That wasn't really Jazz's fault in my opinion, but it happened. Judge gets caught on the bases going to third in the 10th. That was a big out. Tim Hill with a ridiculously low IQ play, in the 10th inning there. He's got men on first and second. There's one out. It's a tie ball game. Soft comebacker off the bat of Turang. Tim Hill gets the ball. I'm assuming he forgot the number of outs because he goes to third base. McMahon was not fully on the bag, so he wasn't ready for it. He bobbles it. Can't completely blame him. Everybody's safe. The ball drills whoever the hell it was going to third. Everyone's safe, and eventually the Yankees lose not long after that. But again, he only scored 3 runs. He struck out 15 times. They were 3 for 14 in scoring position. They had 1 home run. A little too much bunting going on for my liking. But the Pen gave up 4 in 4 innings. Certainly not great. Headrick got the 7th, gave up the home run to Bowers, the lefty. Cut the lead in half at the time. He looked good after that. But the home run hurt. Doval got the 8th. He struggles again to prevent runs as he has all year. He has an issue holding runners. His delivery is very slow to the plate. And sometimes he won't throw over just to keep the runner in check. So that allowed a stolen base. On that at-bat to Turang, he doubles down on the slider, which clearly wasn't working. Gives up an immediate base hit. That's kind of on Austin Wells there. But Doval finishes 2/3 of an inning, 1 run, 2 hits. It was a frustrating watch. For a guy who's supposed to be an elite setup, we keep talking about the potential of him. But overall, just a bad game. One of those games where, if you watch this game, Richie from Yonkers, the 60-year-old, old school purist, he'll probably call the fan tomorrow morning and complain about this game because it's a game that fits that type of fan's narrative where they'll talk about small ball and they'll talk about fundamentals, etc., when in reality it was just one game where stuff like that happened. the positive from this game, and I guess this is where we'll tip our cap to Cam Schlittler. We're going to tip our cap to him for the 4th time this year. He was fantastic yet again. You know, he comes out the gate there in the first inning looking really sharp. Then he gets drilled with a 109-mile-an-hour liner off the calf. I got hurt watching that shit. To him, because he's a giant, didn't matter. He shakes it off after a few minutes. Was missing high for a minute there, but after that, pitching on one leg, he goes 6 innings, no runs, no walks, 6 strikeouts. Couple of hits, no extra base hits. 97 pitches, gets the no decision. Nothing really affected him. The velocity hovered where it usually does. He sat 98. Got a ton of whiffs with the 4-seam and the 2-seam. 4-seam top of the zone, 2-seam into righties, front hipping it to lefties. The cutter was working well. The Brewers were 1 for 11 on that hard slider cutter thing that he throws. Lots of ground ball contact. He was jamming their lefties. Continues to mix in the occasional slower slider to right-handed bats. I'm surprised we didn't see any curveballs with the amount of lefties Milwaukee has. That's a pitch that he usually likes to drop in for strikes against them. But, man, Cam Schlittler's just been freaking fantastic. And, like, I'm sitting here and I'm watching him and I'm just, like, not bored, but, like, I find myself not flipping out and not going crazy like I was watching him when he made his season debut this year. Because we've now reached a point with Schlittler where this is just routine. And that's so unfortunate because I don't want that feeling, because it's like you don't want to take it for granted. You know, like, can we just for a minute pause and like recognize how amazing it is to have this young right-handed pitcher on our team who now has a 2.28 career ERA with 126 innings and 143 strikeouts. He throws hard. He misses bats. He doesn't walk guys. He hits his spots. He's doing it all with like 3 types of fastballs 90+% of the time. He's really, really good. And it's clean mechanics too. You don't want to jinx, because I know guys go down a lot more nowadays, especially the hard throwers, but it's a clean delivery. Man, he looks good. This guy's an ace. He's the best pitcher on this team, in my opinion. I don't really care if that sounds controversial, and honestly, this might be more controversial. I don't think it should be controversial to say that. Cam Schlittler, just unreal. Unfriggin' real. A 131 ERA on the season? I mean, and everything he's doing is sustainable. You go on his Savant page, everything is red. Favorite player on this team, and it's probably not close. So, unfortunately, he can't get the win, but he is still 4-1. And then Sunday, today, the Yankees lose 4-3. Carlos Rodon makes his return. Honestly, I didn't think, like, okay, I knew the final line wasn't going to be pretty. Rodon is a guy who, you know, he takes some time to come back. When he's coming back from an injury, you can't really expect anybody to be good. But overall, from what I saw, I was very encouraged. He looked healthy, which was the one thing I was looking at. I thought the stuff looked great. The velocity was up. He hovered at 95.7 miles an hour with the 4-seam. Touched 97 a few times. He hit 98 at least once. So to see that was awesome, because the fastball has declined from year 1 with the Yanks to year 2, and then to year 3 declined further. So you could definitely tell if this is what we're getting this year, then the elbow was definitely giving him pain all of last season. So if he's truly pitching pain-free like he says, and we're getting this type of velocity, maybe it's not going to be sustainable at this rate where he's 97, 98. But if he's like 95, 96 versus 93, 94 last year, that's a big difference. You know, that's a big increase. And then I thought the slider looked really good. He had a couple of nice backdoor sliders that were just missing. He had a really nice back foot slider to get Gary swinging and missing in the first inning. Got a lot of whiffs with the slider. The changeup looked really good to their righties. It was just normal stuff. Like his command was way off today, but that's the most predictable and expected thing in the world for a guy coming back from elbow surgery. So, all in all, Carlos Rodon, 4 1/3 innings, 4 strikeouts, 3 runs, 5 walks, a hit batter, a wild pitch. No home runs allowed, 78 pitches. So I walk away encouraged. The bullpen was pretty good outside of David Bednar, who issued the walk-off home run to Turang. But Bednar still picked up 2 strikeouts. Cruz had 3 strikeouts. Bird had a couple strikeouts. I know we're going out of order here, but Blackburn, 2.87 ERA out of nowhere, which is funny to me because nobody really cares about him. Tim Hill bounced back. But the bats were quiet once again, and they made another fight once again, which has been a theme. You got the Judge bomb in the first. Jones with his first major league hit, base hit up the middle RBI, 2-0 in the second. But then, Rodon implodes there, but the Yankees tie the game in the 6th with Jazz Chisholm doubling and scoring Belli from first. So, offensively, 3 Yankees produced RBIs, Judge, Jazz, and Jones. And 3 Yankees were on base at least twice, Judge, Bellinger, and Caballero. I want to talk about a couple of Yankees. I want to talk about Caballero. I want to talk about Jones. We'll talk Jones first, then Cab. Spencer Jones has arrived. Not a ton yet. He drew a walk. He had a couple of nice at-bats in his debut, and then, again, the RBI single today. The power, I think we all know the power is real. Whether he can get to it is the big question. I am excited for Spencer Jones, just like everybody is. It's nice that he's finally up. It's nice that they're not just going to go to Schumann with Dominguez down and Stanton down, but they actually decided to go to Jones. I also, though, I think he's going to be a bit of a project. Because I don't think he's ready for big league action. I think it's just the injuries that force their hand. And just, I'm not going to say I watched a ton of Jones down below, but now that we have data that we can look up, given his chase rates and his zone contact rates in the minors, it's hard to see him having a ton of success yet unless he walks an unrealistic amount of times, right? Because in the minors, especially at AAA, high chase rates, but a very low zone contact rate, like below 70%. And in the big leagues, and I'm going to quote Yankees files here because I trust them, they were saying you need like 75% or better zone contact rate in the big leagues to really be a big hitter. So it's not just make more contact, which is like the basic casual take about Jones, but it's like zone contact. Because contact out of the zone is dumb. It's going to be weak contact. It's going to be useless. But it's the contact that you need to be doing damage on. It's the in-zone contact. And if that's going to be low, he's got to start drawing walks and stop chasing. So that's the big thing I'm going to be looking for here in his first stint. But yeah, like I expect him to struggle a little bit because I just don't think he's fully developed yet. Now, in the big leagues, guys do throw more strikes, so that could help him. And he will see some bad pitching in the American League. You know, he's not always going to run into 105. You know, he won't always see the Miz. But I don't know. We'll see. You know, I think, you know, people like to do this. I like to do this. People like to make comps. I saw Miguel Sano floating around. I think that will be a good comp for him. Obviously, the big one is Joey Gallo. But I think, like, if we're talking, if this guy, Spencer Jones, completely just is everything that you hope he can be, I think it's like Texas Rangers Joey Gallo, where he's over an 800 OPS bat. He walks, he hits 40 plus bombs a year. That's like, if he's Texas Rangers Joey Gallo, that is incredible upside. That's a big hit for Spencer Jones. It's so hard to say if he can be that right now. He's got a lot of work to do. But obviously the mold, that 3 true outcome hitter, you know, he can get to that level if everything goes right. I don't know. It's just, you really got to see more because, you know, the power's there, but it's that doing damage on pitches that are inside the strike zone and then not chasing. Got to do one or the other at a big rate, you know, to be successful here. And he's not done that in the minors, so it's tough to see that improving. But I want to go back to the series, and from this Milwaukee series, I do want to tip my cap to Jose Caballero, who I thought was the best position player of the series. We're going to tip our cap to him for the first time this season. For as much as I think Anthony Volpe should be here, and for as much as we've talked about that, and for as much as I think Caballero will come back down to earth, and he will, I have to admit the results have been there, you know. And in this series, he had a couple bunts, a couple of walks, he had 3 hits. He's getting on base on the season, 259 average, 320 on base. Does have a 400 slug. Looks really good at shortstop. Good on the bases, 13 stolen bases. He's a, you know, as we like to say, pesky guy. Whether it's the antics with the pitch clock and the eye contact or what he's doing on the bases, he's just been really good up there. And again, the things he's doing is more luck and fluky at the plate than it is sustainable. But you give credit when it's due. And right now, it's working. So, Jose Caballero, tipping my cap to him. And then, in the bullpen this series, I know he gave up some runs, but I am going to tip my cap to David Bednar for the second time this season. He looks back. He looks back, and that's huge to have a closer like this who you can rely on again. I know it's not been 100% smooth this year with him, but I do think the talent is there, and I don't think he's completely gotten the best of luck. And this bullpen as a whole, I do think it's a little bit better than people think. Like when you think about the 2026 Yankees, everyone knows about the lineup. And of course, everyone knows about how stupid good this rotation can be and is. But the bullpen, I feel like, gets a lot more criticism than anything else on this roster does, than any other unit. The bench, the lineup, and the rotation. But, like, again, first of all, the pen is going to be different looking in the second half. You know, you have possible promotions with Legrand and Elmer and this guy Rezelman. You got starting pitchers coming back to push guys to the bullpen. Ryan Weathers is most likely going to be on an innings limit in the second half. You move him to the pen where his stuff will play up. He might see an uptick in velo. He could be that left-on-left weapon. He could eat innings out the pen. Can make possible trades, you know, whatever is going on with the Phillies right now. Duran. Cashman always trades for multiple relievers at the deadline. But even right now, what I'm talking about, like, right now, this bullpen, I just don't feel like is getting enough credit for how, I'm not going to say they've been great, because they've not been great, but how solid they've been. They've been solid. And how sustainable it looks given some of the underlying stuff. But so far this season, results-wise, this is entering today, the Yankee pen is 10th in WAR, per Fangraphs WAR. They have the third best ERA, the 10th best walk rate, the 12th best batting average against, the 9th best whip, second best ground ball rate. The only thing that I'd like to see more of in this pen, and again, in the second half that can improve, is velocity and swing and miss. Because right now the Yankee pen is 28th in fastball velo and 17th in K rate. So it would be nice to have some more hard throwers and keep the ball out of play more. But it's good that they're keeping it on the ground when it is in play, right? They're 6th least in home runs. And then you look at the underlying numbers too in this bullpen, and it's pretty promising. 15th in exit velocity. They're inducing the 4th lowest launch angle, the 4th lowest barrel rate. And again, that's all good for ground balls. But also they are 10th in FIP, 8th in expected FIP, 4th in expected ERA. Like, you know, like that's telling you that they're doing good things, but they're also, their process has been good to lead to those good things. It's not fluky. So I think there are guys that you should feel good about in this pen, and I think Bednar is one of them. I think Cruz is another one of them. I think Hill is one of them. I think Headrick is one of them. You know, Bednar is, again, he's starting to look like himself again. We talked about it early on in the season. We were worried a little bit about the four-seam fastball. The whiff rate was cut in half at the time. The velocity was down. But both are ticking back up to where they belong. The fastball whiff rate is back to where it was last year. The velocity's been more 97 than it was earlier in the year. His off-speed stuff has looked really good all season long, both the curveball and the splitter. He continues to avoid hard contact. He continues to keep the ball on the ground, but now he's just adding in the swing and miss. And I do think at the end of the day, his traditional season numbers will stabilize. Fernando Cruz is, again, a guy I think that is interesting, but I trust him. I know that's kind of a controversial statement with the type of pitcher he is, but he gets swings and misses. He keeps the ball on the ground. The big thing with him is you just have to hope that he's got his four-seam control so that he can get to his forkball. Because sometimes it's tough to bring him in without an open base, because you know he's going to walk guys. And that four-seam fastball has not been locating well this year, and it's been getting hit a lot. So that's been the problem with him so far this year. But I do think like he'll be fine. And he was a good pitcher for them last year. But you've got Tim Hill, who throws strikes, gets ground balls. He retires lefties. He's perfect for the role that he's in. Headrick has been a blessing for the Yankees. Talking about a reverse splits lefty with a great split change to be able to go at righties with. It's got a decent fastball that plays up because he gets good extension on it. Nasty swing and miss slider. Leads the Yankees in cap tips this season. But you also got some guys that have not been consistent yet, but you see the potential there. I think Jake Bird's an interesting name. Maybe an overlooked, potentially solid weapon here. He's got swing and miss stuff with the sweeper. He can tunnel the sinker off the sweeper well, get ground balls. Comes down to location with him. But since his recall, Jake Bird, 6 innings, 1 run, 3 walks, 5 strikeouts. The ERA is going down. Camilo Doval remains a gigantic enigma. The stuff looks amazing this year. The velocity's up. You know, the movement on the cutter and the slider. Kind of got a gyro cutter. The walks are down. That's great. He's figured that out. Cleaned up the mechanics maybe a little bit to figure that out. But he's given up home runs. The slider has been poorly located all season long. Just missing in the zone with it. Just not been consistent. You know, the run game, again, is still an issue. Keeping base runners at check. Somehow this guy, with this crazy good stuff, has an ERA in the 6s. So, yeah, there are some qualms. You know, some guys you want to be better because they have the talent. And again, I would like to see more velocity. I would like to see a little more strikeout rate. I still don't like having both Yarbrough and Blackburn take up the roster spots. 2 long men. I also think, like, while the bullpen as a whole has been very low in usage, just 27th in innings pitched, which is very good. They're not being overused. One guy who is being used a lot is Brent Headrick, who is on pace to, I want to say, eat at least 75 innings this year. So I just hope that can be tamed and it doesn't lead to, God forbid, an injury, or maybe at some point eventually the Yankees will use one of his options, send him down for a bit, or maybe they fake DL him just to limit the innings a little bit and keep him fresh. But hopefully with Rodon back now, that can help Headrick get some rest. But yeah, it was a tough series where the Yankees got swept by a Brewers team who, you know, is in a tough division, but they are playing good baseball, and they're a baseball team that's above 500. And I guess that's where we'll transition here, because this part of this whole this is like a Twitter discourse right now, where after every Yankee loss, there's always some new narrative to pick at, and we love to overanalyze. And I understand it's competitive nature, and even I feel it sometimes, but like, there really is no need to make everything a thing, because that's how narratives start. The Yankees' performances this season at any point versus what you consider good pitching or 500 teams, or their performance in 1-run games, or whatever other imaginary fan fiction stat that we want to use. Like, none of that really matters. None of that matters regarding postseason success, because the postseason's a crapshoot anyway. If you don't believe me, just ask yourself, why do we look at 162-0, if that were ever a case, different than we would look at 7-0? Because in larger samples, you get a truer test of who a team is. You know, and it's also just been statistically proven every single season that it doesn't really matter what your record is against 500 teams. Like, and again, we are super early into the season. So we are literally talking, the Yankees are 1-5 against teams 500 or better. We're talking about 6 games. 6 games. That's it. And we're drawing conclusions off of that. Plus, teams that are 500 or better right now are not going to be 500 or better later, and vice versa. You've got Texas below 500. You've got Seattle below 500. The Mets could very well be above 500, as much as a, hot take that is, right? There are teams right now, is what I'm trying to say, and vice versa. So literally the only thing that you should be focused on in the regular season is staying healthy and stacking wins. Get into the dance healthy. That's it. I could not care less of any of this dramatic noise that, mainstream content creators and casual fans like to make, because either it makes them feel better by setting lower expectations, or it makes them feel like this tough guy critic. It's all fan fiction. It's all fun stuff. It's all bragging rights type stuff. None of this matters. None of this matters. Dodgers were below 500 against Toronto last year. What happened? None of it matters. Dodgers were, I think, winless against the Brewers last year. What happened when they faced them in the postseason? None of it matters. Something that does matter is that, listen, the Yankees have been really good against left-handed pitching this year. They are second in OPS. They are second in OPS against lefty starters. But it's remained a very tough time for Jazz Chisholm and Austin Wells against lefties. A big talking point really in the offseason and so far in the early going this year with Wells struggling has been, why didn't the Yankees go out and grab a right-handed catcher? So you could spare Austin Wells and protect him on days where there is a lefty starter on the mound. Gary Sanchez, who's having a really good year, could have been one of those guys you brought back. You brought in. But you brought back Escara. You called him back up. And so you have 2 lefty catchers. Nobody, I know you can do the Goldschmidt Rice thing, but you don't want to catch Rice, who's also a lefty, by the way. But I just it's a little bit concerning. Jazz, I'm concerned about a lot more because he's just not coming along. The on-base stuff has been better. He's getting on base more. But the other part of that, there's 2 parts of OPS. There's a slug part, and that's the damage contact is just gone. Because Jazz is not a guy who hits the ball super hard. He's not an ex velo guy. He's a small dude. He relies on a very volatile thing like getting the right launch angle sweet spots. And that's not consistently been there this season for him. So that's a little concerning. That's just a very 50-50 thing. And then you go through their numbers, both of them against lefties this year. And I'm going to paraphrase something I saw from Yankee Stats Chris Coop on Twitter the other day. This was something that was posted on May 9th, so it's a little bit outdated by a day. Wells didn't play today, so I guess it's updated. Wells against left-handed pitching this year, 435 OPS, 1 extra base hit, 37 plate appearances, 0 barrels, 288 expected WOBA. Jazz versus lefties this year, 1 extra base hit, 462 OPS, 0 barrels, one of the worst expected WOBAs in the league. Now, regarding Austin Wells, And similar to Grisham, the underlying numbers as a whole look decent. And given that Austin Wells is a catcher who is a very elite framer and pretty good at blocking balls, just really good defensively as a catcher, you accept it a little bit more. Again, the Jazz Chisholm stuff, I consider him a big staple in this lineup. He's a second baseman who hits in the middle of the order. That part's a little more concerning to me. Now, on a positive, talking about lefties, one guy who does seem to be coming around is Ryan McMahon. It was almost like Ryan McMahon was never going to have a 300 OPS all year. And if you went on Twitter during that time, you probably thought he was gonna. But that's just not sustainable, being that bad. And so Ryan McMahon is slowly getting back to what he's always been. High 600s, low 700s OPS bat with an elite glove. That's been coming back for a bit now. And you take that, 100% you take that, because that's good value at the bottom of the order. To have a guy who provides some pop, gets on base a little bit, and has an elite glove. And since that OPS was all the way down to 319 earlier in the season, entering today, 26 games since then, 294 average, 342 OBP, 471 slugging, to give him an 813 OPS. That's 3 doubles, 3 home runs. Also has 11 RBIs. He went yard against DeGrom the other day. I mean, the guy's always hit the ball super hard. He's always had good bat speed. Power's always been there. It's just been, the swing and miss that prevents him from getting to it. Damage contact in the zone. Sometimes he takes too many strikes. I was always the guy who wished he pulled the ball in the air a little bit more. I know he likes to go the opposite way with the way his stance is and his swing is. Kind of naturally hits it the other way. But he's been on an uptick, and it's a good thing to see. He'll go through stretches. So the Yankees wrap up a tough trip to Milwaukee. But I believe they come back home to play Baltimore now for 3 games. Actually, before we talk about that, the Tampa Bay Rays just won't lose. They beat Boston today. Boston's terrible. But Tampa is now 2 games up in the division. For now. For now. Because, I'm sorry, I just don't buy them. You go up and down that roster. Listen, there are no power threats. There are not a lot of power threats. I know they got Caballero, but like statistically, both the results and the under the hood stuff, it just the way they play baseball offensively, it's very unsustainable. Low power, high batting average, low K rate, small ball types of teams. It's just not tenable. And the Rays are winning right now while being 26th in home runs, 24th in slug, 9th highest ground ball rate. They're 30th dead last in all of exit velo, hard hit, and barrel. You're just not going to get by with bloops, bunts, and grounders that find holes. That's not going to last consistently. Their pitching might be able to continue to do what they've done, but if your offense is going to be this weak, it's not going to last. I think things will even out to where when we're in the middle of the season, we'll be talking Yankees, Blue Jays again. I really do think that'll be the case. I think both of these teams are really talented. I just don't think Tampa's going to be the one that's in the Yankees' way. But up next, the Yankees go back home for 3 against the Baltimore Orioles. Let's hope they get hot. They need to get hot. And I think they've got Weathers returning tomorrow. And then it'll be Will Warren. And then back to Max Fried. So, those are your 3 starters for New York. Don't know who's on the mound for Baltimore. But with that said, I think we'll wrap this episode up right here. No trivia tonight. The Yankees get swept. Whatever. They'll be fine. Don't overanalyze. I'll see you guys soon. Go Yanks. Hey guys, thank you for listening to BD4. Be sure to follow us on social media, subscribe to us on YouTube, and give us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts. We'll see you next time.